Welcome to a new year, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Me and Mitch kind of took a break from YouTubing over Christmas and New Year's, and it was probably a good thing we did because we were part of that giant storm that swept through the country, as most of us were. So we spent Christmas pretty much stuck at home because it was so bitter cold and our electricity was being turned off and on to try to conserve energy in our area. So we basically hunkered down and wished for warmer days. It's now the start of a new year and a new year of looking at some fantastic vintage cookbooks. Now, a while ago, I had my bookshelf tour video, and in that video, I asked the subscribers to list what cookbooks they would really like me to fast track on the channel. And a lot of your suggestions were so awesome. I couldn't wait to delve into it. So January is going to start our whole viewer suggestion pile of cookbooks that we have to go through. And I thought it would be fun because sometimes January is seen as a budget month, especially after you've spent so much money on the holidays with your parties and gifts. Sometimes January needs to be tightened up a little bit. So I thought it'd be fun to look through this little vintage Betty Crocker money saver. Some of the subscribers asked to see some of these vintage Betty Crocker cookbooks that I have. And so I thought this one would be a very appropriate one to look at. Now, this is going to be an interesting look through because a lot of the food in here looks kind of dubious. Not really sure if this is going to turn out to be something you would want to make to save money, but I have the ingredients and it seems like it might be a good meal. So I thought we'd go ahead and try it and see, you know, did these money-saving dinners of the 1970s, it might have saved money, but did they taste good? So that's what we're going to look in today and next week, because we're going to give this cookbook a second chance if this thing turns out not to be that good. So let's go ahead and get started cooking because, well, I'm just gonna have to show you. And it looks like a violent thunderstorm is actually blowing in. I hope our electricity holds out so I can finish cooking this meal. So you may be hearing some wind and all kinds of noise going on while we talk about this cookbook, but let's go ahead and get back inside and try to finish this dinner. And here's the meal that I decided on. The name kind of got me, hamburger potpourri. And we're gonna have this lettuce wedges with yogurt dressing. This is going to have cucumber and dill in it. I think that should be pretty good. I've got all of my ingredients out with a bit of a substitute. So I went to several different stores and I could not find condensed vegetable soup that didn't have other things added to it. So I went ahead and just got some mixed vegetables, and I already had this on hand, the beef broth. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this 3 cups of water here because I already have my broth mixed up and not condensed. So that's the only change that I'm making to this particular recipe. And I've calculated what it would have cost me if I would have been able to find vegetable soup in the condensed version. And so for this meal, everything, the 2 dishes came to a grand total of $14.72. I'm counting the beef that I got on sale at Fresh Market, and I'm also counting the cucumber and of course the pork and beans, but not the incidentals like the onion, basil, and oregano that you would already have in your cupboard. So let's go ahead and get this going because, like I said, I'm really worried about what's going on outside. So in my Dutch oven, I've got the ground beef, the garlic, and onion in here. This is just going to brown and before we add the rest of our ingredients. But I am going to run outside and try to feed the barn cats before this gets too bad, because wow, is it sounding rough out there. I think it's actually starting to calm down a little bit. So we're gonna get these cats fed, and I think we will be safe for the rest of our dinner. I've gone ahead and drained the fat off of this, so you see our meat is nice and browned. And so now we're gonna add everything else. This would be where you would put your condensed soup instead of my non-condensed vegetable soup. We've got our pork and beans and tomato sauce. And our celery. And then I'll add the rest of everything, including our Worcestershire, our basil, oregano, our salt. And then we will put a lid on this and let it simmer. The recipe says you need just 20 minutes. I might let it go a little bit, longer than that since my vegetables are frozen. And then we will be ready to dig in. And now we're gonna go ahead and make our other little dish. I've already got my yogurt in a bowl. I've chopped up my cucumbers, so this is gonna go in here. We're also going to do a tablespoon of sugar. And we're gonna do a little bit of dill. And that's it. We just mix this up and we've got our second dish done. I'll put this in the refrigerator just to keep it a little bit chilled until, the other dish is done. But this is coming together in probably one of the fastest dinners that I've ever made on the channel. So this is gonna be a plus in its favor. And I almost forgot, we gotta do a little bit of salt. So we'll go ahead and mix that in. Now we're done and we can put it in the refrigerator. And now let's take a quick peek at this Betty Crocker's Money Saving Dinners. You can see here it was actually owned by my grandmother. I don't actually remember her cooking out of this one, so I don't know if she actually used it or if this was just something more that she collected to look at. You can see here the first edition was 1973. This one was a reprint from 1981, but the recipes, and it looks like most of the pictures are the same as the 73 version. I thought this was kind of funny. You have 3 separate chapters here. You've got your Super Savers, which is where our dinner came from. You've got your budget bolsters, and then you have well-planned splurges. The book is actually set up a little bit differently than your usual cookbook, in which each page or a couple of pages are just going to give you a full menu and then the recipe. So it's not separated by meat, soup, appetizers, that kind of thing. You're actually getting a full menu that you can choose from. You have a few little money-saving tips here and there throughout the cookbook. And so here we're looking at the Super Savers, and some of them are a little questionable, like putting hot dogs on pizza instead of pepperoni, and some of the other ones in the pictures I will show you look a little bit dodgy. And I did want to show you the actual pictures of the food. So unlike some of my other cookbooks, a lot of these dishes really didn't look that appetizing to us, like this meat ring with sauerkraut in the middle. I'm sure it probably tastes good, but the presentation kind of didn't make us want to try it. Now, in the middle of the book, we actually get more of these really great 1970s spreads. I love actually how they've got everything arranged. I think this looks really cute. And some of the ones that I mentioned before that doesn't look all that appetizing, I think you can see this little gelatin mold with peas and carrots floating in it. That's not something that I would want to put on my table to eat. I don't know. I think the texture would kind of throw me off of that one a bit. I thought this was an interesting idea. We've got potatoes stuffed with those infamous peas and carrots, but at least they're not in gelatin. So there you go, Betty Crocker's money-saving dinners from 1973 and then later 1981. I'm not really sure if I would actually recommend this one. I think it's fun to look at, but whether you would actually cook a lot out of this, I kind of have my doubts. You can see how pristine the pages are, so my grandmother certainly didn't use this very much. And I don't know that a lot of these dishes would actually save you money, as we do have, you know, like curried beef, that kind of thing. These are actually more expensive cuts of meat at this current time. So I think there are some fun things in here, but would I go hunt this down on eBay? Probably not. But if I saw it in a yard sale, yeah, I'd probably pick it up for some nostalgia and to just have a fun look through. And pretty sure this is ready. It smells really good, actually. So I think we're gonna go ahead and plate up and let you know if this meal should stay in the 70s or be brought back to the future. Okay, we are ready to try our budget dinner. It smells good, like I said, so my hopes went up just a little bit. So let's go ahead and try this concoction and see what we think about it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I think we like this.
This has got a lot of good flavor in it.
It has a lot. It really does.
Yeah.
Like a ton of really good flavor. I can taste the Worcestershire, you know?
Oh, maybe that's what,
yeah. You've got like the tomato sauce that was in the pork and beans. You know, there's a lot of good stuff going on in here, you know? I doubted it. I really did. I thought we were going to have leftovers that were going to be like, oh, I dread eating this. But this is really good.
Yeah. Might be my favorite, like, vegetable beef soup.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it tastes like the 70s. Does that make sense? It's got a nostalgic taste to it. You know, it's just kind of maybe it's because, you know, my mom and grandmother, you know, cooked, you know, so much through the 80s and stuff while I was growing up. And a lot of their recipes, you know, rolled over from the 70s, you know, so it's got that really just nice childhoody kind of nostalgia taste.
My childhood version of this would have been like a Dinty Moore beef stew. So yeah, not quite the same thing.
Now,
what is this?
Okay, this is kind of a yogurt cucumber thing. Okay, and I think it's gonna be really hard to eat. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to very carefully pick up a lettuce.
Oh man.
And try it. I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
If I can eat it.
If you can eat it. Alright. I got mine.
Alright.
Alright, you ready?
Yep, cheers.
What do you think?
I was expecting water,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually has like a lot of good flavor to it.
Yeah, it really does.
The yogurt, and I think, is that dill?
It's dill. And it's got a tablespoon of sugar. Which is probably why you like it. That's why I said you're probably gonna like it, because I knew how much sugar I put in it. I might cut down the sugar a little bit. You know, especially if you're using like almond milk yogurt like I am.
A little bit sweeter.
It has a little bit of a sweeter, yeah. So, but I actually think this is good. Like, if you put this on the table, you know, your family might be like, I don't know. But then as soon as they eat it,
yeah,
I actually think they'll keep eating it and they're going to really like it.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, it's a little messy and the look of it doesn't like seem like a lot. But overall, this is really good.
Yeah.
And I like the combo. I thought the combo was weird. It's not. The cold balances the hot and the flavors really, really well.
Yeah.
So, I think we had a really good budget dinner.
Yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed how quickly this came together. Not a lot of dishes to have to clean up. I mean, this is kind of a win-win for us.
Yeah.
And so we had a surprise hit out of our 1970s money-saving cookbook. I really thought that this one was going to be a big fail, but it actually turned out to be a big win. And next week, we're actually going to give this another go, because we thought we were going to have to. Because we thought this would fail, and we thought, oh, we'll give it one more chance. But we're going to go ahead and do another one, because I think we found another recipe in here that I think is really interesting, and I think we're all really going to like.
Yeah.
So there you go for this budget saving dinner. Hope you try this, because I think you're going to be just as surprised as we are and really want to put this on your dinner table probably again. So thanks for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.